So many people out here on the interweb are trying to say that we're going to invade Venezuela, we're going to attack, and that is not what's going on, okay? We have said for several months that we are going to take out the drug cartels. One of the biggest drug cartels is in Venezuela, and it is run by Maduro, who's the president of Venezuela. And it's just a shame that, we want to protect our people from the scourges of drugs, and right away people are saying, oh, they're going to invade. I thought he was against war. Well, you can be against war and still want to stop the drug cartels from flooding your country with drugs. And the military has the best deterrent for that. At last count, there were 9 ships on their way, and 9 ships is not enough for an invasion force. It was 9 ships and 4,500 Marines and sailors. That is not enough to invade a country. What the heck is wrong with these people that, every time we try and stand up for what's right, they say we're just, going to invade. Hey, Yasmin, when that's not what's happening at all. There are drug labs in the jungle. There are different cartel outposts, and we are going to likely take out the drug labs and the outposts, and after about 2 or 3 weeks it'll be done. And the fact that Nicolas Maduro has a $50 million bounty on his head. Hi, Cole. People are trying to say that, well, this is regime change. It doesn't have to be regime change. Past 2 elections, Maduro lost and then refused to relinquish power. So he's, I don't know what the right word, he's not, he's not the elected leader. The elected leader took asylum in Spain. But right away, people got to jump on this bandwagon because we're sending 9 ships and 4,500 troops for this operation to stop the drug cartels. They're trying to say, oh, they're just going to invade. That's not a big enough force to invade a country. If they were going to invade Venezuela, they would have to have at least 100,000 troops. and they can sit in international waters and use missiles and take out the drug labs and stuff. Hey, April. And never go ashore. You know, a missile doesn't require someone on shore. These people are crazy. You know, some of these drug cartels are responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths in America due to drug overdoses and stuff. And if we have the ability to stop it, we should. Hi, Zach. Thanks for making it out, Zach. You know, we should not. Yeah, they're all over the world, but the main hub where they operate from is in Venezuela. Yeah, I'd made some changes, so we shouldn't have that problem anymore. The only time we will have that problem is if I have a guest and then, you know, it will lag while it's waiting for the guests to sign in and stuff. But, you know, my family has had their share of, you know, drug addicts and etc. And drug dealers really are a scourge. You know, hold on, let me see if I can. Is that better? Drug dealers really are a scourge, and there are other countries around the world that stop drug dealing, stop drugs by giving the dealer the death penalty. I'm not saying we should do that. I'm just saying that's what some other countries have done. And it's just a shame that we have come to this, you know, that we have to use our military to stop the flow of drugs, and it should be stopped. You know, and I chuckle a little bit, but right. Yeah, if the dealer is linked to a death in other countries that they give the dealer the death penalty, there's no waiting around for a bunch of appeals. You're found guilty, 30, 60 days later, done. Hey, Jordan. Thank you, Cindy. And it's just, we need to stand up for our citizens, say enough is enough. We have the ability to stop the cartels. The cartels are at our southern border. They have, you know, crossed the border, and they operate in some of the towns on our southern border. So it would send a message, a big message to the cartel leaders that, we will get you. We will come get you. And if it's in another country, we will come get you. If you pump this poison into our cities, we will take care of business. Yes, I agree, Cindy. My one cousin died of, he died of a liver cancer related to his years of crack cocaine addiction. I have a niece who is a heroin addict, and she goes in, she gets treatment, gets off for a couple months, then falls off the wagon. It's just a vicious cycle. And I heard this put this way last night, that holding the hand of the criminal and coddling them and saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry that you broke the law," doesn't work. They have to have real consequences. Arresting them and then saying, "Well, here's your court date. Show up for court." That sends the wrong message. It tells them they can do whatever they want and there's no accountability. There has to be accountability. And just because we are wanting to stop this scourge doesn't mean we're invading a country. The force that's there is not big enough to invade a country. There's 4,500 Marines and sailors on I think it's 9 ships. To invade a country the size of Venezuela, we would have to have hundreds of thousands of troops. So when the mainstream media says that we're going to invade and we're declaring war, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them, because they obviously don't know what they're talking about. And we can sit miles and miles offshore and take out their drug labs and their pot farms and whatever without ever going ashore. And I support this because it needs to stop. Someone needs to stand up and say, "Nope, not again, no more." Right. But if the dealers didn't meet that demand, that's not really how I want to say that. If the dealers weren't there to provide the drugs, then the people on drugs would have to get treatment. This soft on crime attitude doesn't work. And I'm not saying criminalize the users. I'm going at from the opposite side, saying criminalize the dealers. Make them have account for what they're doing. Because of the dealings that I saw my cousin go through, these dealers make tons of money. And I'm not supporting it, I'm just saying it's a fact. They make thousands of dollars a week. A week. What most people make in a year, a dealer makes usually in a month. So if we can put a stop to it, put a stop to the rampant dealers and the cartels run the dealers, you know, see, that's the problem, Zach, is the cartels make the drugs. The cartels are the ones that make it. And then they have their own people that are dealers that, well, not dealers, that are mules that travel from point A to point B to point C. It's not like prescription drugs. The cartels make the drugs, and they're putting fentanyl in everything. They're even lacing weed with fentanyl. No, not anymore, Zach. The drug dealers are owned by the cartels. The cartels make the drugs, and then the cartels have their own dealers that they use to spread it. It's very much changed in the last, I would say, 10 or 15 years. Right. But they get their money from the cartel. So if the cartel isn't there to supply them the drugs and give them their money, then that changes things. That puts a big change on things. At least I think it would. All right, that's what I got for y'all today. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, take care, be safe. Love you guys. Bye.